that's been here today. I'll give this back.
Okay. Thank you so much for your patience. I did want to take a moment to introduce to you one of our wonderful corporate team members, Rob Yancey. He will be taking some time to share some new information with the residents regarding online bill pay and statements. So, Rob, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Erilyn. Am I coming through okay?
You're perfectly okay.
Okay. The one trouble I will have is hearing questions when we get to that point. So you might have to relay them to me. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing fine this morning, and I hope you have nice weather down there.
I'm sorry, Rob, if you could just speak up just a little bit more,
Just
that
a
would
little
be
bit?
perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
How's that? Okay. I'll try to keep my voice up. So hopefully everybody can hear me. So my name's Rob Yancey, and I work in the corporate office here in Pennsylvania. And what I wanted to have the opportunity today is to kind of show you our new online statement and bill pay option that is there for you now. This is an addition to the current paper statements. It's just a different way of accessing. So similar to your utility bills you may have had in the, I don't know how many we get now, but any other type of online payment system for billing, you can go out and view invoices, still be the same invoices you get by paper each month, and you can actually make payments online as well. So I'm going to give you a brief demo of how you would access this, your statements online. It's very easy, and I'll go through a few examples of how you could, or show you how you can make a one-time payment, and you can also set up recurring payments. And we'll talk a little bit about recurring payments as well, especially if you're someone that would be on the current automatic payment of your statement. So I'm going to present my screen, Erilyn, and just let me know that everybody is seeing it okay.
Yes.
So are
it's
we
up.
seeing my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this is new for me to speak to residents through our Teams application, but it's great that we have this technology and we're able to do it. It'll allow me to reach a lot more residents than trying to travel around, especially in today's world and everything going on, even though it seems a little better. So I am currently, if you're seeing my screen, on the ACTS resident portal. I can't really ask for a show of hands because I won't see them, but hopefully a lot of you have been on the resident portal. If not, I highly recommend checking it out. There's a lot of information we're trying to provide to you guys through the portal. So on the main portal page, we have this green banner announcing ACTS online statement and bill pay. And I can click here to access. Before I do that, I just want to show you something else. In the menu option on the resident portal, if I click on that, I have an option down here, a menu option of ACTS statement and bill pay. And this is going to take you to a page that has some other, it's kind of not a lot there right now, but there are some documentations or links here that you can click on to see documents on adding a payment method, so how you can set up your bank account to make payments online. There's a document on accessing the online statements, but it's a button click from the portal, so hopefully that's pretty easy. Adding and removing recurring payments. So these would be setting something up so that your statement would be automatically paid each month. So how to add and remove, and also making a one-time payment is what the making a payment would be. So you can go in each month and pay your statements online as you wish, instead of having it just automatically come out. So there are options there. So I'll just go back to the home screen, and I'm going to click the button. And it's going to take me seamlessly over to our online statement site. The online statement site is hosted by PNC Bank, so it does have all the regulated banking security with it. So once you're here, it's like being on your own personal bank site. It's managed by that bank. You don't need to have a PNC account. You can utilize your existing bank accounts to use this if you want to make payments. So I'm going to come in and it's going to come to a home screen. Currently, for me, the test user I'm set up as, I don't have any invoices to display, but you should have your current invoice that just came out beginning of October. So the October statement should be showing here. So you would see the amount due with the due date and the statement date and the due date on there. And you can see here you can pay. So if I did have an invoice here, I would be able to pay that invoice. It would automatically default to the amount due, and I can select my payment date and I would click pay all. Now, if you haven't set up a bank account, under payment method here, you can see I have an option. But if you have not set that up yet, you would have an add payment method option. Okay. So that's basically the home screen. Under pay my bills, you'll have your history of your statements. We load it all of 2021. So in here, you should see every single statement from 2021 that you received. If you moved in during 2021, you would just have statements from the first one you would have received. If you moved in prior to 2021, you should have everything from January 1st. When a statement comes through, it always replaces the prior statement, right? So when you get an X statement, you'll see your prior previously billed balance. You'll see any payments on there. You'll see any current charges and the amount due. So the amount due always incorporates any past due amounts that weren't paid plus your current charges. So just keep that in mind. When you look at these, they'll all have a payment amount of 0 if it's a prior month statement, because it replaces each other. So you're always looking at your current one. Okay. So that would be the list. You can pick from here to make payments too. So if I wanted to make a payment on this statement, I could click here. And of course, since there's nothing due, it's showing 0. But if there was something due, I could put an amount in here. Again, my payment method. So similar to the home screen, you would have these options. Here's where I could add a bank or a payment method. So just to show you that, I can go and add. And from this screen, I do apologize. It seems like there's a little bit of a lag in things popping up. So here you can see I can add a personal or business account. You can only add bank accounts and make payments from a bank account. So you can use a personal or business, a checking or savings. You can give your bank a nickname. So, Rob's checking or whatever you wanted to call it. The name on the account, you would just have your name there. It might default in your name from your statement, but if you want to change what it shows there, you can. And then the routing and account numbers, which you would get from the bottom of a check. So if you're familiar with the numbers in the bottom of the check, it does show you a little picture here of where to grab the routing and the account numbers from a check to put those in. And you would agree and add an account. You'd have to check this box that you're just authorizing its correct information, and you would add it. You can add multiple accounts to choose from. So if you wanted to pay for multiple accounts, you could have a checking, say, or maybe 2 different banks. Maybe you pay your monthly fee from one bank and you want to pay your ancillaries from another bank. You could set up multiple banks and initiate multiple payments. Okay. Choose a payment date. And you would just continue here. Not going to go into that screen. It's basically a confirmation screen. That you would just verify it has a checkbox. You have to check that you're authorizing to make the payment, or you're authorizing PNC to withdraw the funds to make a payment to Axe. So that would be a one-time payment. And then the last option is recurring payment. So you can set up recurring payments. So you could set it up and it will automatically pay your statements every month. Very similar to the existing program we have. if you're signed up on that. It's the same thing. If you're not signed up for an automatic payment, this is a great place to go to do it. So you can easily create a new recurring payment, and you can give it a name, X monthly payment, say, or whatever you want to call it. Your customer number automatically shows up. You don't have to worry about that customer number. It's a long encrypted number that we assign to the residents. I would click continue. On the schedule, so the next part is schedule, it's always going to come off on a due date. So our statements come out around the 8th of the month or so, give or take, depending on the month. And it's always due 5 days from that invoice date. So it would come off on the due date. So that will probably be around the 12th. I think this month it's the 13th, 14th, around those dates. You can choose how much you want to pay. I would recommend having the amount due come off, but you can set up an up to amount. So maybe you want to have a limit on it of how much it would come out each month. Or you could do a fixed amount. Maybe you want to set up a recurring that it would just draw your monthly fee every month, and then you do a one-time with your ancillaries. The only issue with that would be is that you will have to remember each year with the monthly fee increase that change would mean that your automatic payment isn't pulling the full monthly fee. I usually recommend amount due is the best. There's obviously every so often there might be a mistake in billing, and we usually correct those and give you the credit the following month. But amount due is usually the best. Keep making this payment until. Okay, so you have some options here. You can say until I stop the payment, or for so many payments, maybe you want to schedule out the next 12 months. You could put in 12 payments, or a specific date. You could say, well, you know what, I want to schedule this out until the end of 2022 and not worry about anything until then. You could do a specific amount or specific date. I'm sorry. Once you choose those options, you would just hit continue. You would choose your payment method. If you haven't set up your payment method yet, it does have the option here to add a payment method. Or if you want it, again, a different one for this, you can add it here as well. Or you choose from the list. If you only have one, it's going to default in there for you. You would hit continue. And you would just have the authorization. You have to check the box just to say that you agree to the terms, and all the legal is up here. And you would hit finish. And then once you have that set up, you're good to go. And on your home screen, you would actually see down the bottom, I believe, maybe not. I thought it was showed down here whether you're on recurring, but that could be my view of looking up accounts to see whether they're on recurring or not. And the one thing I did miss, typically on the home screen, if you did have a invoice on here displaying, you usually have an option to view that invoice here, a link. Since there's none to display, I don't see it here. But when I go into pay my bills, where I see all my history of statements, I can view all those statements by clicking the little, might be hard to see on the screen for you guys, but to the right of every statement is a blue square with a magnifying glass that represents the view of the invoice. If I click on that, it calls up my invoice. So I'll see the invoice date, the due date. The invoice number is, we assign it just the month and year. So in your history, it's easy to see under the invoice number all the months and that the statement was for. You'll have, again, your previous balance, your payments received, your current charges, and your invoice total due, or invoice amount, and then the detail of the current charges. Just like your statements now, it's just an online version. You have the option down here to print. So if you have a printer in your home, you can click on the print if you want to print a paper copy, but just remember, they're always going to be accessible to you online. So you don't necessarily have to print a hard copy for yourself. Okay. So that's my quick demo. And I can open up to questions. And Erilyn, I think you may have to kind of repeat them through so I can hear them.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions in the room. A moment.
If you currently have automatic payments going to ACTS, if you currently have that, do you have to make a change to this system?
The question, Rob, is if
Great.
you current,
I-
you heard her?
I was
Okay,
here.
perfect.
Unless you want to repeat it for those there.
No, that's
So
fine.
the question was, if you're on an existing ACH or automatic payments, do you have to change to this? The answer right now is no. There's nothing you have to do right now with this system. It's an addition. It's an added benefit. We've had a lot of requests from residents to be able to go online and access statements and make payments. We're still at this time going to continue paper statements. And we are at this time going to, if you're currently on the ACH, you'll be able to continue that. Now, we may want to do some migration in the future to here. And it is the same as what we're currently doing. The only difference is that you're able to maintain it and manage it yourself versus relying on ACTS to maintain information in there. It's the exact same type of process from a banking standpoint. They're both called what the banks refer to as ACH. So from a banking perspective, everything's handled the same way. But to answer your question, no, you can continue to stay on that at this point.
Okay, we have another question.
I have two questions. Will you be able to tell us what remains on our meal cards on this? And also, the second question is, if we choose to write a check, we can look this up online and then deliver a check to Alexa or Kim?
So the first question with the meal balances is this system is strictly for the monthly statements. But my understanding is for the meal balances that there is work being done to provide that online as well somewhere. It won't be here because this is just for the state monthly statements. I don't have a timeline on when they'll be available. I just know that there's projects currently in place that are being worked on around meal counts and meal utilization, and that is a topic and an initiative as part of that project is to provide some sort of meal balance online or access for you. And I'm sorry, the second question, what was the second question?
If we choose to write a check, looking up online what our amount due
Yes.
is, can we still write
So-
the check and deliver it to the desk?
Yes, so you'll always be able to pay by check or cash or rolled coins, although Kim Massesso may not love that. But yes, you can still continue to pay by check. You can come online and view your statement. You may, especially being in Florida, may have access to the online statement prior to receiving your paper copy. We plan to load it around the same time we deliver or ship paper statements. I do think sometime in the future there may be some sort of opt-in and opt-out when it comes to paper, similar to utilities and other places where you may receive some sort of billing or statement in the mail that give you those options as well. But yes, you can still continue to pay by check.
Okay, we have another question.
Yes, thank you. What are the considerations for those who are not computer literate? And do they have to buy a computer? And do they have to take computer classes? Because I know some people who are in that position.
Sure. So that's a great question. So again, obviously to use the system, you would need access to a computer. there, I believe, typically on campus, you usually do have some community computers access. I don't know if you'd want to access something like that from there. We are working with our IT department. I believe your community, if you've ever heard of the tech cafes, we're hoping to be able to provide support through the tech cafe as well. The business office has the ability to make a payment online for you. So you could actually come down and work with them, or work with them to set up the recurring for you. And again, you can continue to just receive a paper copy and make a payment there. The one thing I do want to note when paying by check, we currently are only updating the balances on here when paying by check monthly. So just like when you receive a monthly paper statement and you make a payment by check, the next statement is when you would see your balance updated. If you pay by check, that still holds true. Currently, we won't be updating those paper payments or payments by check online until the next statement is loaded. If you do choose to do recurring or pay online, that will reflect when that payment is processed. So if you come in today, initiate a one-time payment online for tomorrow, you will see that your balance gets updated, with nothing to pay. So you would see your current invoice with a zero balance once that payment initiates.
Okay, we have another question.
At the point that you drop paper invoices, does a person have, and if a person has automatic withdrawal from the bank initiated by ACTS, do we have to change anything?
Yeah, I'm sure when we would go to make any changes to existing processes, we'll obviously be communicating what the procedures would be to make any changes there. Right now, we're hoping that this is an added benefit, and that residents can take advantage of. Again, you don't have to. There's no real sign up. Your sign up is just the first time you access from the resident portal. You'll just have a screen that asks for some security questions and a security icon. That's a one-time setup, similar to other one-time setups when you sign up for other online systems. You go through some of those security questions that you would add. Once you do that, that's really just that's finalizing your setup, but it's not a lot there to do. But you can. We don't really have a timeline, so I don't know. Like I said, at some point, I think in the future, we'll probably have what our standard is, or at least say, if you want to opt out of paper, you can. Or if we said the standard was online, we'd probably still have to have an opt-in to paper process as well. So I'm guessing in the future will be some sort of opt-in, opt-out when it comes to the paper statement. And with the existing automatic payment, in the future, we'll probably want to move people who are currently on that over, I would think. But we haven't really made that decision yet as to how we're going to handle that.
Would there be a fee like there is with other companies when you keep paper and don't go to paperless?
We haven't gotten that far into the strategy of how we'll do that, what the options will be. It's a great question, and I'll certainly take that back to our team. Right now, we really just want to be able to provide this as an option for you, and again, being able to still get the paper statement. A lot of companies now, I think a lot of what I see, like when you go paperless, sometimes if it's a mobile phone, they usually give you a discount. I'm not saying that we will do that. But you're right, some others do it the other way, where if you want a paper statement, you might get a small fee to have a paper statement. Again, those conversations have really not gotten too far yet, because we're just introducing the online part of it and really want to see how this goes and how people adopt to it.
All right, Rob, I think If we could just shorten the responses, we have some people that are anxious to hear other information. I think
Okay.
that's it for the questions, is that,
Great.
or do you have one last question? Okay.
Do you have an option to choose what date your payment is made? From what I can see, when you go in and say, pay my bill, it's going to come out the same day you do that. Am I correct?
So if you're still seeing my screen, for a one-time initiated payment, you do have the option to select what date. For the recurring payment setup, where it's just going to automatically come out, that only comes out on the due date.
Okay. I think that might be it for questions. Oh, nope,
Okay.
we have one more. This is the last one.
Some of us do our own taxes, and frankly, I don't want to rely on this to get my information to calculate my deductions. And I'm kind of shocked to hear you say that you would ultimately might charge a fee for paper statements. Every bill I pay has an option of online or paper. And certainly corporations are not charging a fee for paper. So I would hope in your discussion you would take our taxes into consideration, the kind of documentation we need, and forget a fee for paper.
All right. Well, I'm sure Rob will take this information back.
Yeah, I'll take that back to the team for sure. Again, we have not gotten far into those discussions.
Just an added layer by way of options where you can access your bills and pay your bills online. So there's no mandates that you need to use it at this point. And as conversations progress, of course, residents and staff will get more information. So if you don't have anything else, I will let you go and we will talk later.
Okay, great. I thank everybody for their time and listening to me, and your feedback is great, and I'll take that back to our team to be sure. And I hope you get the option or opportunity to try this and like it.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right,
We
thank you,
appreciate
Carolyn.
it.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much for your patience and listening to the added option that residents now have to view their online statements and pay their statements either recurring or at will. So as you know, Scott is not here, and I'm going to hold off for questions until the end, if you don't mind. Excuse me?
I have a question about this. Was this scheduled for this town hall meeting?
Yes. I'll roll into my portion of the updates right now. Yes, it was scheduled. It was part of my agenda to present to you. Of course, we didn't think that it would take 25 minutes or 20 minutes, but here we are now. So Scott is not here. He will be returning to campus tomorrow, as I mentioned yesterday. He serves on the Leading Age Florida Board of Representatives for CCRC in the state of Florida. He is also working closely with FLICRA to promote and support legislation that will benefit our residents here at Indian River Estates. Therapy, you heard from Lisa yesterday about Thrive screenings. I just wanted to mention again when the times of those Thrive screenings would be conducted. They're the first Tuesday here at East in the multipurpose room, and the last Wednesday at West in the multipurpose room. And you're welcome to go to either one of those locations to get a screening. As Lisa mentioned yesterday as well, if you don't feel comfortable doing the screening in front of, other people and you want it done in the privacy of your own home or somewhere else on campus, then just reach out to either her or one of her staff members and they will get you scheduled to have that screening. And the importance of it is to know your numbers. Of course, it takes about 30 minutes and it covers areas of mind, physical endurance, strength, flexibility, and balance. And most importantly, as she mentioned yesterday as well, it's free. So if you're interested in signing up for any of those Thrive screenings, you can sign up at either bulletin board at either East or West. So it was a fun time last week for Active Aging Week. There was a lot of activity here on campus, lots and lots of fun. The residents came out and had a wonderful time, got a lot of good exercise in, and what I want you to see is the range in that stretch right there Miss Anita is doing. It's perfect form, but most importantly is all the fun that they had on the putting field. They had mimosas as well. So if you like mimosas, just consider it for an event next time to partake, because it seems like they had a lot of fun. We also have Olympiacs that will be coming up soon. The tryouts started yesterday and they will run until October 13th. Which I think is tomorrow. So not a lot of residents signed up, but I think Robin will take any additional residents that would like to participate in those Olympiacs. And we're hopeful that those that do participate will, of course, help us bring home the gold. That's been the case a lot of years in the past where we did place gold in a lot of the event categories. So there are 10 event categories: Cyber Cycle, the Cyber Cycle race, which is wonderful. You can do that remotely. The Walking Relay, which we normally always place gold in that. We have some phenomenal walkers here. Cornhole, puzzles, trivia, spelling bee, Minute to Win It, Lego Challenge, billiards, and putting. And I don't know that they would be dishing out mimosas during the Olympiacs for putting, because we want to make sure that we win too. So come out and support your residents. We typically compete with the Southeast communities in Boca. I'm not sure what that will look like at our next Olympiacs. I'm not sure if they will throw in Westminster and Alabama and our other communities in the Panhandle, but it should be interesting. Coming up for fitness as well, it's on the fitness calendar. Of course, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we have the Breast Cancer Walk that will be held on October 28th at 9 a.m. So wear your pink and come out and walk a mile or so to support those living, surviving cancer, breast cancer. The Bocce Ball Court project is also scheduled. We had to put it off for a few weeks because of the rain. The rain seems as though it will be at bay for a little while. So the construction is supposed to begin again tomorrow. So you should see some activity on the Bocce Court installation starting tomorrow, barring, no additional rain. We also have a wellness chat. That date will change from October 28th to the 21st. We'll have that chat at 2:30 p.m. in the West Multipurpose Room. Willowbrook Court update. I don't know if I mentioned at the last Ask the Director meeting, but the Willowbrook Court facility was successful in maintaining their 5-star rating, which is very difficult to do, especially in this climate with all of the staffing and clinical challenges. So they've been able to do that successfully and basically hold at 5 stars consistently for a number of years now. So we were really proud of that accomplishment, and the staff celebrated that accomplishment last week. We're also fortunate that we haven't had to use staffing agencies to staff our Willowbrook Court and our Oak Bridge Terrace. That is hugely, hugely expensive, and in most cases, if nursing agency is used over a long period of time, then the quality of care also suffers. So we're very, very grateful, even with the reduced census at Willowbrook Court, that we've been able to use our own staff to provide the services that you need in your home. Visitation, also visitation. I know that some of you in the room visit those at Willowbrook Court frequently, and the visits were held outdoors for modified visitation. Since they have had no positives in 2 consecutive weeks of either staff or residents, visitation has now reopened. So those visitors that go to Willowbrook Court are now able to visit residents in their rooms versus, just in a common area outdoors. So that will provide, of course, additional privacy and, a longer amount of time where you can visit your loved ones or your friends. It's still recommended that you place a call to either Jesse or Kylie at Oak Bridge Terrace to schedule those appointments. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, so we want to monitor the number of people that we have in the buildings at a given time. But it's wonderful now that the visitation will be opening back up. Oak Bridge Terrace as well, last week they were able to vaccinate almost 100% of their residents with the boosters. There were a few that opted out for, either medical or personal reasons, but there were only 2. Everybody else is fully vaccinated, along with receiving their boosters and their flu vaccines. So that's a wonderful thing. Same thing happened at Willowbrook Court. I think about 99.2% of their residents have been vaccinated with the boosters and the flu vaccines. I know that I mentioned during the last Ask the Director meeting that we were hopeful that Kelly Peterson, she was our Director of Assisted Living, she would be coming back around October 6th. Unfortunately, Kelly will not be returning as expected in that role. So, of course, we wish her well when she is available or able to come back to work. Of course, we'll open our doors to her and our arms to her for her to come back in a different capacity if one is available at that time. But we are actively looking for a replacement. We have had 4 interviews in that short period of time. So we're hopeful that we can select a Director of Assisted Living in short order, someone that is qualified and realizes the importance of the service that they provide to Oak Ridge Terrace residents and family members. As for the project update, I know that we were supposed to be in Oak Ridge Terrace, or the residents were supposed to be in Oak Ridge Terrace in our Phase 3 completed construction by now. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. So the new date, tongue-in-cheek, the new date is before the end of the year. So optimistically, construction hopefully will be done by October 31st, hopefully. And move-ins for our residents for the 13 rooms that are remaining that are under construction can happen sometime in November. You're looking at me like you don't believe me. and I don't blame you. But this message is from Scott, not me. But we're hopeful. Everyone that we speak to at this point in projects and development, they say October 31st, November 1st move in to go over the punch list to make sure that nothing needs to be done for the third phase. So we'll just keep it at that, and I'll move on. Some wonderful news. I mean, there's so much bad happening. Mr. James Cady, I'm sure some of you know him in this room. He celebrated his 104th birthday on the 5th of October. And this is a busy man. I mean, none of us were here 104 years ago, and this man had a completely full day that he was able to spend with so many of his good friends here at East. The staff had, as you can see, a wonderful dinner that everybody ate and cake, and it was just a really, really wonderful time to see. I went to see him that day, and he was just so excited, and I was excited for him. So I just wanted to share this wonderful picture and something for us to aspire to, a 104th birthday, if that's something that you want. He was born in 1917. Anybody know what happened in 1917? World War I. Yes, he's still here with us. So we have the multifamily unit construction clearing that is happening now. I'm sure you see it when you're entering into Indian River Estates. It's 175 multifamily units, and they have gotten clearance to move forward with that project. Scott did attend a meeting in August, and they met all of the requirements. So that project, as of right now, will be beginning. So we have Justin here. Justin's been here for quite some time. His mother actually lives at West. Justin has been promoted to the Director of Building Services. So he's done a wonderful job. He originally started over at Willowbrook Court, and from Willowbrook Court, he became a foreman. And as of October 15th, he will be the Director of Building Services. And he will have oversight of the West Campus, Willowbrook Court, and the North Villas. He'll report directly to Jeff, right over there, and have the maintenance team reporting to him directly. Mike Bouchon, that has also been here ton of years, he is the Director of Building Services, but he will be here at the east side of the campus. So his oversight, Mike's oversight, will be East Campus, Oak Bridge Terrace, and the South Villas. So we feel like, you know, doing this, the maintenance team will have a better handle on completing the work orders and, of course, accountability to be able to find out, you know, where work orders are in the process. And also we'll have great leadership from both Justin and Mike on campus. And of course, if there's any extenuating circumstances, they will help one another. It's not like Justin has to stay on the west side of the campus and Mike has to stay on this side of the campus. They'll work in tandem with each other. They'll continue to do that to provide the services to the residents as they need it. So if you see Justin, congratulate him on his new position. So Kitty is in the process of scheduling annual cleanings. The annual cleanings will start in the South Villas, and the first annual will start on the 18th of this month at 8:30, and the next one will be at 12 p.m. So right now, there will be 2 annual cleanings a day. And our staff right now is not staffed to capacity. So unfortunately, this annual cleaning has to be farmed out to complete cleaning. So complete cleaning will start providing those annual cleaning services to our residents. And then once Kitty gets her staffing where it needs to be, of course, our staff will take over. But we feel like waiting any longer is not fair to the residents. You know, it's something that needs to be done. Window washing also, a contract has been awarded, and we're waiting right now for a start date for that to happen, so more to come on that. West Culinary had their an inspection last week, and things were really good. They found some minor things, most of which that were corrected before the inspector left campus. So she'll be back in about 60 days to look at those small items and to clear anything up that needed to be followed up on. So just some general information. I know that the residents got a notice about clearing out any excess items outside of your cages. That deadline is on the 22nd. So if you have anything that has not been stored in your cages, please make sure that those items are removed. I'm not sure if New to You would be interested in any of the items to sell them. But all of the items on the outside of the cages have to be removed before the 22nd deadline. We do have a combination gala / 50th anniversary celebration for ACTS here. I'm not really sure what that looks like at this point because the events are going to be combined. I do know that there will be two separate events, one to celebrate on the east side of the campus and one celebration on the west side of the campus. Right now, the tentative date is somewhere around June, the summer months. So definitely more information to come on that once we get closer to the event. So this was a picture that I got over my phone this past Saturday. Scott was doing his rounds, and it wasn't quite 4 feet, maybe a little bit smaller than a 4-foot alligator. But what's most interesting is the sign is right there. Residents to please beware of alligators. So in all seriousness, as you're walking around the campus, especially if you have small pets, please pay attention to your surroundings. This young fella looks like he was just hanging out for the day. And just know that Jay, he's to my left right here, he gives the trappers a call anytime we see something like this. Jeff mentioned yesterday that there were snakes. Well, a snake, and I think it was about 6 feet, about 6 feet long. So just pay attention to your surroundings. Not really sure where all of these reptiles and such are coming from, but just be careful. So scam alerts. We had a resident that received a notice for a subscription, to pay a subscription for about $358. And she was supposed to pay this invoice, and this invoice was listed as coming from the Geek Squad PC support. So one thing about the notice that was an indicator that it was not legitimate was the poor English that was used. It says, this charge will appear in your bank statement as Geek Squad. It should be on your bank statement. And there's little things like that that give some non-legit emails, correspondence, whether they come in the mail or not, little hints like that, you know, these are not legit notices. So this particular resident did go to her bank account, and she did see that there was no withdrawal on her bank account. Of course, alerted her bank that she received this notice, but just be mindful when you get notices, and especially if you know that it's not a service that you enlisted from someone. Don't pay it, don't write a check. Don't give out your bank account information, and then alert us. I have one example that I'll share when we get to the Act Signature experience just about this. Sales numbers, last month, the month of September, we had priority list signups, 13, which is phenomenal, and the sales team has sold all of the villas. Right now, there's a name on every single one of the villas. There's 16, and they have 16 sold at this point. Unit selections were 10, and then the actual move-ins for the month of September were 5. So you aced it. We have Lindsay Holiday, which is our fitness trainer, and her write-up was just about her being her. She is wonderful. Her classes are really organized and thought through. The resident reported that they have fun and they feel better for their efforts. And the classes have grown since she's been involved. Justin, our newly promoted director of maintenance services, building services, he had a write-up because he was able to troubleshoot a particular problem that was recurring to fix a faucet drain. Carol and Kitty, which is to your right, she found a significant amount of money in the front lobby, and she turned it into administration, and Carolyn demonstrated ethical, honest, and trustworthy decision-making. She's a living example of doing the right thing even when people are not looking. And fortunately, the owner of that money was found and the money was returned. We have Missy from the Wellness Office, and this was the person that I was talking about. Missy was treating a resident over at West. This particular resident said that she needed to hurry up because she had to go to the bank to get $500 in gift cards. Well, on a hunch, Missy asked some additional questions. And she said, no, I have to go to the bank, I have to purchase these gift cards, give this man a call back and give him the numbers on the back of these cards. Missy called the number. The guy answered, which is almost unheard of. He answered. She presented as though she was the grandchild of this resident and told him, of course, that she was going to report him and his number to the authorities. So it is prevalent, and people, you know, as much as we talk about these scams, people still may fall victim of them. Then we have Rod and Tim. They are the West Executive Culinary Chef. And then we have Tim, the West Culinary Director. And a few residents that just wanted to thank them for the execution and planning of event holiday meals, and of course, the delivery. So with that, I will open it up to questions. Booster shots, we actually have a call. We had a call this morning. I will be sending out a memo. There is an additional form that will need to be completed on the day or the day before the actual clinic. I did mention yesterday that I was waiting for additional information on how we were going to execute the clinic. I still do not have how many CVS team members will be here to administer the vaccine. So I don't want to give you incomplete information, but that's the information I have at this point. As the day progresses, I have several calls set up to find out additional information. And as soon as I get the information, either me or Scott will do a reverse 911. And of course, you'll see the forms that will need to be completed for the date of the clinic. Yes.
The construction that's going on in OBT that's going to be complete, will that be the total project, or are some of the fitness facilities still going to be under construction?
That last phase, which is phase 3, includes the remainder of the OBT rooms, in addition to the Life Enrichment Center, which will include the small additional multipurpose, therapy gyms, home health, all of the wellness suites.
So the building then will be done?
Yes, once the
Thank you.
punch list is done, yes, it will be done at that point. Phase 3 is the last phase. Yes. Right behind you, Jeff.
Could you tell us what the vaccination status is of those non-ACT employees who are here as helpers, either home health aides or cleaning people, or the workers that you've contracted with
Yes.
for window and?
The direct care, home health, outside agency workers, they're still required to have a weekly test, a weekly negative COVID test. There have been no mandates or requirements from ACTS to say that they have to be vaccinated at this point. So once they enter the community, they stop at the front security desk, they're asked for their proof of their negative test, and then they're let through. Yes, Jay, we have a question. 1 second.
Is there any possibility that the furniture in the elevator lobbies could be made more socially accessible? We cannot play jigsaw puzzles on the tables, they're so small. And the furniture is very uncomfortable.
I know that Scott and Tina will be looking at furnitures, tchotchkes, knickknacks, that type of stuff. When he returns tomorrow, he'll have an email for me to survey that area to see if there's something that can be done.
Tables have been ordered, replacement
The tabletops have been, but are you speaking of something different than the tabletops? Yeah, okay. I'll just let them know. Okay. Larger tabletops. Any additional questions, Bob?
When will the parking lot be finished? And will they be putting up handicap signs and reserves for the Oak Ridge Terrace?
I'll let that gentleman right to your left answer that question. That would be you.
I'm trying. No, it's supposed to be, when they started, they said 5 to 6 weeks, and we are in week 3, and they have started doing the sidewalks, and hopefully there's an issue on getting concrete right now. So they're hoping to get it this week, and should be wrapping up in then 2 weeks. Yes, but it will have all the signs and the lines and all that stuff.
All right, one last question.
How often are the air conditioning ducts cleaned here?
Are you talking about in the apartments? Well, we don't clean ducts in the apartments because you can't clean them. In the hallways, I have to find that out. I'm not for sure if we ever have cleaned the ductworks besides doing the filters.
So how often do you do filter changes?
That is, I believe it's every 6 months.
Okay. All right. If you have no other questions, thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day.